Bum bum. Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement, presented by Barstool Sports and 3Chi. I am your host, Robbie Fox, or today, the Mandalorian, and with me is my co-host, Clem, or today, Grogu, or as Clem calls him, Baby Yoda. You know, I'll respect that.
Yes.
We are here to talk about the penultimate episode of The Mandalorian Season 3 today, and what an episode it was. I told you my guy Vinny Vegas was hyping this up as possibly the greatest Mandalorian episode ever. I honestly think it's up there. Even if you want to say Season 2 premiere is better, we got Luke Skywalker saving Grogu, that heartfelt moment at the end. This penultimate episode blew my socks off, blew this Fox's socks off.
Vinny Vegas definitely gets a W in Vegas for the kid there, and I guess he's like our new Star Wars insider for now. He definitely came up big in a big spot, and yeah, I watched this at 3 a.m. last night. I woke up with an upset stomach, and I said, well, what better way to like make the time go by than watching Mandalorian? So I have to admit, that was a lot to take in at 3 in the fucking morning. So God bless anyone else that did it. I feel like I'm like in the cobwebs right now. So we're going to try to get through this all right. But me and Bob are both battling some stuff here. But I mean, I think this.
I was going to say, in solidarity with you, I got a stomach bug as well or something.
We are like I always say, E.T. and Elliot, where if one gets sick, the other gets sick. One drinks beer, the other gets drunk, and we're both just going through it. I think after last week's episode that kind of divided the fan base, we got the fan base back together. And I think for the last fucking time, we could just say it once and for all. Hashtag trust the Filoni. The guy's going to get there. He may fucking have a Make-A-Wish episode with celebrities and a bunch of weird shit that doesn't make sense with the Scooby-Doo ending. But then we're going to get this. I don't know how that episode, this episode, the Andor episode we had earlier in the season, all are from the same fucking show. But that's just how it is now. I don't even know if Din Djarin is the Mandalorian anymore. I think it's just the Mandalorian is like saying buffalo. It's like a plural, basically, you're saying, right?
Yeah, it kind of is at this point because it's Bo. It could be Grogu, although Grogu's a droid this week, which is an amazing addition. But if you didn't like this episode, honestly, you got a big old dump in your pants. Last week, I could see, all right, it was divisive. I could see you not liking some scenes. This was good old-fashioned Star Wars fun. Great action scenes, great twists, great acting. Shout out Giancarlo Esposito, his return here. Tremendous. It was absolutely everything I wanted it to be in a penultimate episode. And it sets the stage for next week to be an all-time finale. And like we said last week, you said this, if they nail the final two, and especially if the finale's like this, 50 minutes, a long one, that's all we're going to remember from season 3. Sure, some of it has been a little disjointed. I've seen some people say that it felt more like an animated series, the way that they paced it. And I agree with that. I think the thing that could have helped it the most was more episodes. If you gave us 10, 12 episodes in the season, I think people would be a lot less critical about the one-offs like the Pershing episode or stuff like that. Now, it could fall into your theory that we were supposed to get 10 episodes in this season, but they had to throw 2 in Book of Boba Fett. So I don't know. The Basement Boys keep hitting these theories.
I'm deciding that is no longer a theory. It is just the truth. Until Filoni and Favreau come to me and tell me it's not true, that is the truth. So says Baby Yoda Clem. Oh, you're taking it off? Bob's taking it off.
I had to take it off. Listen, I'm no longer in the Mandalorian creed, but goddamn, the Mandalorian hoodie is hot.
Yeah, for
those
who
are
like
70 degrees outside.
Yeah, that's true. For those who are not watching on YouTube, we both dressed up. Bob had his Mandalorian hood on. I'm in my kid's Baby Yoda, it's like those oversized hoodie things. And I'm hot. The only thing is, this is for a kid, yet it somehow fits on me because it's oversized. It fits basically up to my belly button. This will be fat guy in a little coat if I try to take it off, unless it's extremely gentle. And these kids love these things. By the way, Costco, I think this was maybe $17.99, best $18 I've ever spent in my fucking life. They love these things. They look adorable in them.
Shout out Costco. We love the Costco people here in My Mom's Basement. Let's get into the episode, though, because there's a lot to talk about here. So obviously, spoilers. I mean, you got spoiled already, so I'm sorry.
Thumbs up, subscribe. That jarred something loose. Thumbs up, subscribe, comment, do whatever you got to do. Just help the Basement Boys out.
Help the Basement Boys out here. We begin with Elia Kane walking through the underworld on what I believe is Coruscant. It looks a lot like Coruscant. And that Hoth-ass spy droid greets her. Scans her face. She gives her TK code. And then a Moff Gideon hologram is displayed. He's like, listen, I'm busy. Make it quick. What do you got? And she's like, I have information that the Mandalorians are bounding together, Bo-Katan, Din Djarin. They shut down the pirates on Navarro, and I think they're retaking Mandalore. And he's like, you got to be kidding me. These two clans together? No. He's like, that's Yankees and Red Sox. They ain't together. And he's like, all right, listen, go be on your way. I'm going to go talk to some people. And he walks through an all-time cool-looking Star Wars hallway. We get a lot of cool hallways in Star Wars, right? But this one had aspects of the Phantom Menace red gates that Qui-Gon and Darth Maul have to kind of go through. And he has some stormtroopers in there that are like his own custom stormtroopers. A new stormtrooper design just dropped.
And I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, wait, are these new? I feel like I haven't seen these. And again, with Mandalorian, your brain is so shot because, like you said, 2020 is the last time we podcasted this, other than the couple that were in Book of Boba Fett. And I'm just so goddamn thrown off. I don't know what was going on. But yeah, if you're not hearing Duel of the Fates playing in your head as those laser doors were opening up. And by the way, Elia, I thought she was maybe not a number 2 or like a right-hand man, but pretty high in the fucking, like, they're going to meetings together. They are on a lot of email chains, I would think. And it's like anything Moff Gideon's on, she has like 80% knowledge of what's going on. He was kind of just talking down to her. He was a little sassy with it. And I don't know, maybe she's just trying to build her way back up. But I felt like this was all her plan, was being this spy. And I don't know what the fuck to make out of all that. And the other thing, these fucking, what are they? The probe droids? What do they call them?
Yeah, I guess the probe spy droids. Yeah.
Yeah. In fucking Empire, they look so much smaller. And I guess also in like the video games, it looks more. That thing was fucking enormous.
It was huge. It was probably like 5 feet tall, floating in the air, maybe bigger. I don't know. And it was wide too. It was girthy little spy droid.
That was a girthy little spy droid right there. That, I think we have our hashtag, girthy little spy.
Yeah, people are going to think that means something else in Star Wars terms. But he goes and meets with the Shadow Council, which was introduced in what I believe was the Aftermath trilogy. It was a book trilogy that takes place after the original trilogy, kind of bridges the gap to The Force Awakens. And the Shadow Council was put together as like hey, if the Emperor dies, we need a contingency plan. And we'll get all the best minds together. I think it was like shut down at one point, but then I guess it's brought back by this point. And they're all talking about Grand Admiral Thrawn's return.
I couldn't believe they were throwing the T word around all willy-nilly. You know, this is usually things that you see before you hear, kind of a thing with a character like Thrawn. But I guess they're like, well, at this point, the Ahsoka trailer will have come out. They'll know he's coming back. And I mean, the big bad boy's coming back that I don't know, but I have learned to fear. Just like I know Chopper I'm going to love, I know I'm going to fear Thrawn. So I'm looking very forward to that. And also, like, even if this council was full of just a bunch of bumbling fools, Shadow Council is such a sweet name. It gives you like instant street cred. Like, oh, I'm in the Shadow Council. Like, oh shit. I think of I was thinking in The Wire when the New Day co-op, and I was like, that's almost like a different thing where they're kind of trying to be like underground with it. Shadow Council, fucking like Imperial. I almost am rooting for the fucking First Order now because it was such a sweet name that they came up with here. Just kidding. I hate the New Order. There is zero part of me that I didn't like anything in the sequel trilogy, basically, and sure shit wasn't the bad guys in it. But
well, I liked that they did connect it here. Yeah, we got Hux's dad, who is played by Domhnall Gleeson's brother, which I thought was a cool little, like, they kept it in the family there for real.
I was wondering how he was so weaselly looking without being the actual Hux. And I'm like, how did they put an actual weasel in a fucking Imperial suit? Nope. So that makes a lot more sense now. Do we know any of these other guys? They're just kind of like, you might know them a little bit, but they're really not.
I think maybe from the books or something like that. Yeah, but nothing from the animated shows or the movies as far as I know from the other guys. And you said you've learned to already fear Thrawn. Doesn't seem like Moff Gideon fears Thrawn very much. He's like, you guys keep talking about his return. Where the fuck is this guy? He's never showing up to these meetings. It's like, whoa.
Thrawn is just the guy that no shows, and you're just always in the meetings with him. He's not dialing in. He's not even sending someone to take notes. And it's kind of a boss move. This guy Thrawn, we're going to find out he was like watching over someone's shoulder the entire time. And again, this is just me being scared as fuck of him. But Moff Gideon, I'm trying to figure out, and we'll get into, obviously all the stuff he has done in his past and what he does in this episode. But I don't know if he's a big fish, a big fish, a small fish, a medium fish. Maybe Thrawn is the bigger fish that always ends up eating him. But yeah, his tongue got a little loose there. It's like, listen, buddy, you don't fucking, this isn't, you're not, what's his name? Gus Fring right now. You don't have this shit on lock. You are part of a fucking council, albeit a sweet ass council with a cool ass name, but you're not the fucking head honcho here. And like you said, slitting throats and just has everything on fucking, auto run. You have the best cooker of meth. We got to do a Breaking Bad rewind. I have to just do it myself because every time we get into this, I just get really excited about Breaking Bad. I apologize. Oh, also,
no, you don't have to.
I love the Long Live the Empire. I like how they just are throwing that one out there. That's like their little credo, the Shadow Council credo.
They're working in the shadows, literally, hitting long live the Empire. Gideon accuses Hux of being obsessed with cloning, which I was like, ooh, he's like, you're the one obsessed with cloning, not me. I was like, oh, we're getting cloning thrown around, a little Pershing talk here. And he requests 3 Praetorian guards. And I thought this scene was cool because not only does it connect to the sequel trilogy a little bit and have that connective tissue, but when he requests the 3 Praetorian guards, they laugh in his face for a second. They're like, 3? Are you worried you're going to get assassinated or what? And it's like, well, you look at Snoke and he had 12? He had, I don't know, 6, 8. He had a ton. So it's like, oh shit. For Rey and Kylo Ren to beat all of them, pretty impressive.
They're fixing the sequel trilogy slowly but surely. Even the fucking Operation Necrophiliac. And I know it's not called that, but I'm going to call it that because I don't know what it is. Necromancer. It's like there's definitely some shit going on here that's going to connect to how fucking Paps came out of the fucking shadows in episode 9 out of the blue.
Yeah. So then we cut to Navarro. We see an Imperial ship come overhead, and the Mando symbol is painted on the bottom. At first, a droid runs up to Grief Kargan. And he's like, Imperials, oh my God. He's like, no, it's not Imperial. Look at the bottom. And they painted the fucking Mandalorian crest onto the bottom. So badass. So cool. And the Mando clans meet there. A very tense meeting because they're like, Bo-Katan's like, I know that these 2 clans aren't really going to get along. Let's hope that they do. And Karga goes down there. He gives Mando some liquor, and he's like, I got another present for you. Come up later.
First of all, the ship was so fucking awesome. I wish that they even tinted the windows. It was like they fucking ramped up a Honda Accord or something like that. They made it really theirs. They put it's almost like putting one of those stickers on your back windshield or something like that. But that's how it's like, oh, this you don't fuck with that ship. That's the Mandalorian ship. You do not fuck with them. And the people of that planet are probably just like, thank God we don't have to deal with anything else.
Yeah.
And you could kind of feel the tension. And it's like, I've never had this in this sense, but whenever I have 2 groups of friends, my high school friends and my college friends, or even friends meeting family, I know everyone's going to get along. But if you have a set of high school friends that are one specific way and another set of college friends who are another specific way, fuck, man, that cannot be a fun thing. And I imagine there are some people, I guess families would be a better example. Say you have one set of family that has one political view, another set with another political view, maybe with a little religion mixed in. And it's like, oh boy, we're going to have fireworks.
Yeah, welcome to Thanksgiving. And it's like, oh God, we're here now. And by the way, speaking of Thanksgiving, what were they cooking for the Mandalorians? Because they certainly look like baby dragons to me.
Oh, do you think? Hey, listen, if they were cooking the baby dragons, tip of the cap for actually fucking doing something the right thing with those things, unless you're literally leveling them up right now for the finale, because those are the only 2 acceptable reasons. It reminded me of at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Disney when we went, how they have that little thing of meat and they use a hyperdrive engine to cook it, which I thought was such a cool little nod to the intricacies of the galaxy out there. So I know, what is it, Ronto's wraps or something like that, or the good shit. I like to think they were making some Ronto's wraps.
I like that as well. So they have a tense meeting, but it all winds up being okay pretty much. And then we go up to the office of Grief Karga, where he has a gift for the Mandalorian. And this gift, oh my God, it was 10 out of 10, or should I say 11 out of 11 or 12 out of 12, because IG-11 has been turned into IG-12 by this guy right here. Hey, it's Babu Frick on the podcast if you're not watching on YouTube. And yeah, he's a mech suit now. So Babu Frick comes in driving him. He's right in the middle of him. And then he's like, hey, I made this for, Grogu. Mandalorian's like, dude, he's way too tiny. He can't operate machinery. What are you talking about? He's literally a baby. We call him Baby Yoda. And he's like, no, He could do it. Let's see if he fits. So he puts him in, and immediately he hits a yes button. We hear the voice of Taika Waititi. Yes, yes. And then Mando's like, all right, cute, take him out. And then he hits a no. So we know he now has yes and no capabilities in this mech suit. Starts walking around a little bit, shaky at first, but starts to get the hang of it. And then, oh my God, he cracked me up with that yes button walking through town. Yes, 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 yes. Like he was Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, I was gonna say we need to get a Daniel Bryan like rebooted GIF where it's just Baby Yo saying yes, yes, yes over and over. I loved it too, and he's just playing games. And this is when we find out that Baby Yo being like 50 or whatever is he 50 whatever.
Yeah,
Like there is a little bit of we're leveling up from Baby Groot to like the next level of Groot right here. He doesn't have the voice to kind of say I want to do what I want to do. We saw him cheating in the game last week with the Force with Lizzo, right? And now he's just being a fucking he's in his terrible twos. And let me tell you, that brought back some memories of AJ and Sienna just doing whatever they want. They're running through town telling you yes or no, yes or no. They're picking up stuff they shouldn't be picking up. That poor guy is getting fucking like doused with his own fucking food and shit like that. Also, I like how he reminds me of Krang from Ninja Turtles. Do you remember that guy? The
the guy with
suit, and he's the brain in the middle.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought of at first. Now they renamed him IG-12, right? Because IG-11 is the initial. It's a nice thing to do. Also, they're renaming it because you kind of don't like think about it, but Baby Yo is basically sitting in a droid's carcass, a fucking guy that sacrificed himself for Baby Yo, and a Baby Yo is just moving his dead body around. That's low-key kind of weird, and I love it. It's like a little twisted and a little dark comedy of it all, and I appreciate it, especially because IG-11 was such like a cold robotic droid when it all came down to it until that last episode when he got reprogrammed and did the right thing. By the way, speaking of Baby Yo, how do we feel about Baby Yo sitting on Bo's lap when they were flying into the planet?
He's kind of looking at her like his mom at this point. That's like the adopted, like he's got a single dad who started dating a woman and he's getting attached. I'm worried, like if they break up, what is Grogu gonna think?
Yeah, now I'm like, does this mean that Din and Bo have to basically get together for the kid? Like, forget about staying together for the kid. They got to get together for the kid. Like, maybe that's how he gets to the dark side. They break up, and then fucking Baby Yo starts getting Anakin eyes.
Don't say that.
Hey, man, I'm just calling it like I see it. Right now, he is very happy, and he's such a goddamn kid. And I'm telling you, Robbie, every single parent who watched that scene had fucking flashbacks of going out in town, being like, these motherfucking kids, they're so cute, and they're so goddamn annoying.
Just grabbing things, not knowing you got to pay for it. And like you said, now, the cutest baby in the galaxy is sitting in a cold, dead carcass.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, speaking of spending money, happy I went to Disney when I did. Because if I went next year, I guarantee I'd be forced to buy it. It's $79.99 IG-12 with a little Baby Yo inside and has the yes and no buttons. And I'd be like, look at my dumb ass. I'm dressed like Baby Yo right now. I'd be like, okay, you guys can get it. We already have 4 other Baby Yoda toys upstairs. What's another one that it's cute as fucking hell. It's cute as goddamn hell. And again, Taika being a part of it just makes it all come together. Feels right.
I know. And like we talked about the voice being so important for Grogu. It's not his voice, but having Taika be his kind of sub voice for now is great. That voice will always make me crack up the cord. I think of, right away. Speaking of great things, let's tell the people about Gametime, a great exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports, created by fans for fans. Gametime is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, shows, and more. I went to a show last night. I went and saw Moulin Rouge on Broadway. Shout out to Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan himself. He starred in that movie. Broadway show, 10 out of 10. If you're on Gametime looking for something to do, night out in the city, go see Moulin Rouge. It was absolutely awesome. But there's also a bunch of other stuff going on this summer. Drake, Billy Joel, Yankees, obviously the Rangers. You got All Time Low on tour. They were just on the podcast. It is possible to snag the best seats in the house with the Gametime app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you never thought you could buy, and the purchase process just takes 2 taps and 10 seconds. Once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone, no printer needed, and the app also allows you to share tickets easily with your friends, so you can get into the game seamlessly. They can get in seamlessly. You skip the hassle. You just enjoy the moment. Download the Gametime app or go to the website, enter your email, and redeem code MMB for My Mom's Basement, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, but that is an amazing deal.
That's such an amazing deal. I won't even take offense to the fact you didn't mention the Mets or my beloved Knicks, who are about to start in the playoffs. You can get your Knicks tickets, playoff tickets as well. It's been a long time. I know we were in a couple of years ago, but this time feels like there's a chance we can make some noise in the playoffs for the first time.
Really, the Knicks?
Knicks, yeah, they're the 5 seed, baby. They're fucking legit. They are, dare I say, good. The New York Knicks are good. Knicks Rangers summer coming up, and maybe for the next few years, this could be a get your game time codes ready, baby.
Hot Dolan summer.
Hot Dolan summer. There's a shirt we should make and then burn.
Yeah, make it real hot. So we go to the Mandos. They're all eating dinner. It's at night, and I like that already. We can see they have like a camp on Navarro, and I feel like this camp is going to grow just like Navarro has grown. And in a couple seasons, we're going to see like a little Mandalorian city, a little mini covert that is all connective and everything like that. As long as they don't get taken out. That's the other thing with the Mandalorians is any second I'm like they might all go extinct. But Bo gives a big speech to everyone. She's basically like, I want some volunteers to go to Mandalore with me. Mando steps up first with Grogu. He volunteers Grogu. He's like, me and Grogu will come. Grogu's like, all right, I was chilling here, but I guess I'll stand up now. No, yeah. Then Casca Reeves stands up. That's Sasha Banks. She says, I'll go. Axe Woves, which I was calling them Axe Wolves last week. Apparently just Woves. Sorry.
His name is, I mean, this guy, he doesn't deserve the Wolves. Remember, I was going to call him Taserface from now on.
Yeah.
I thought it was Axe Wolves. I have the captions on. What the fuck? You know what? Fine, good. He doesn't deserve the Wolves. Axe Wolves it is.
They go next, and then Paz Vizsla. It seems like everyone's pretty much like, all right, we'll go to Mandalore with you. Like everyone gets inspired by Bo's speech, and it's the first step towards Bo being that person like the armor said she could be to unite these people.
Yeah, this is the way. I give extra credit for the first few people that said it. You know, everyone else that kind of joined in, it's like you start the ovation, and once it started, it's like, now you're kind of just joining in. I consider the people that joined in first, they were the people that when you're playing dodgeball, you just like line up on the baseline. Those are the people that would run for the balls. I never ran for the balls. I was like, I'm not fast enough, and I'm better at catching than I am at throwing, as there's like someone like right next to me because we're both going for the same balls. So shout out Mando for being literally the first one. And they're probably like, that's your girlfriend. That's your fucking kid's adopted mother. We saw little baby Yo flying on her lap on the way in. You really don't have a choice. So, you know, Mando, I would love to see Mando have a decision between Bo and the girl that we're like hoping comes back from season 1.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be great if he goes back there. He's like, I got to stop there, make a visit or something. And Bo was with him. And there you see the dynamic of that love triangle. Oh, that would be. And Grogu just hitting yeses and nos in the background would be great too. I don't think I'm ever going to get tired of this Grogu yes and no bit.
Yeah, I can live. Remember we're saying, oh, he has to be coming soon where he's talking. This could last me probably at least another 2 seasons, and I'm not going to get tired of it.
We'll add a couple buttons, right? You give him a maybe. Yeah. You give him a we'll see about it.
I want a frog. Like he's hungry. It's all taken with TV. It's all good.
Yeah. So they arrive on Mandalore through a storm. Really cool scene where they drop out, and it's almost like they're telling old war stories. They're like, "Oh, I was here for it." You know, I haven't seen it since then. 3 Bo-Katan loyalists appear on what looks like a pirate ship. We're getting a lot of pirate vibes this whole season, and they have like a skitter. Really cool, unique look for Star Wars. One of them is Skinny Pete, the Mandalorian.
Oh shit! Oh boy, now I'm gonna go back into my Breaking Bad thing again. I'm that when they have the little Roomba and you're on the Roomba and you get the perspective from there. Oh boy, I can't even get into the Breaking Bad. I didn't even notice that was my guy, Skinny Pete. Where's Badger?
No, he had longer hair. Oh, it would have been great if they had both of them in there. They would be a great like bumbling stormtrooper combo as well. We had Jason Sudeikis and that idiot as the stormtroopers last season. I'd like to see them as ridiculous stormtroopers.
The gunship reminded me of Bowser's ships in the Mario games that you fly up on. That was my thing. Again, I'm in big time Mario world. The kids are obsessed with what we're seeing in the movie this weekend. I'm very excited for it. So that was my first. I had vibes. I'm like, all right, we're going back to the Bowser ship now.
And it was cool to see, like, all right, Bo-Katan did lead these people at one point. She still has followers. They were out there. They're on Mandalore, and they're like, we knew you would come back for us, Bo-Katan. Is that your voice? At first, I was worrying that this was going to be Moff Gideon. When you just hear, like, a voice yelling, like, is that Bo-Katan? Is that Giancarlo Esposito? It doesn't sound like him. Maybe he's trying to change his voice. But they were cool. The whole episode, they seemingly were cool. But also, we got to talk about this. The episode is called The Spies, Clem. Spies, plural. We saw Elia Kane in the beginning. She's a spy for sure from Moff Gideon. We didn't really see an explicit spy other than her, though. So there's got to be a spy in the Mandalorian covert right now, right? That's who led him to the ambush, or at least told Moff Gideon and his crew where they were going to be. I hate to say this. Our girl, the armorer, is looking real sus. Is she skyrocketing to the top of your sus list?
She is the sus list right now, Robbie. I don't know enough people's names to even have them on the sus list. She's just number one with a goddamn bullet. So yeah, the armorer. Everything was going a little too smoothly with the armor. She was so accepting of everything, and everything was going good. And that fucking sledgehammer shit. She was Triple H and people. I feel like again, she's fucking a double agent for both sides here. I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what the end game is of it. But I feel like they could wrap it up pretty quickly. It's crazy how fast you go from, oh man, we have a lot of loose ends to tap, to everything just getting done. That's I remember the season 1 finale. We're like, holy shit, that was all taken care of. So I would not leave her alone. I would not leave Baby Yo alone with her. I wouldn't leave myself alone with her. I'd basically take away her armor making privileges, throw her fucking hands in the old thing that Tyrion was put in Infinity War. We couldn't make anything. What do you think about that, Bob?
The forged hands. Yeah, I like that idea. I mean, if she winds up being the spy, I don't want to Sparky her yet, where we have her hands of stone and then we wind up figuring out she's just like a good person all along. But I have seen arguments already today where people are like, hey, she really did make it out of every situation alive. Even when the Mandalorian covert was wiped out in season 1 of Navarro, she made it out of there alive. Is her end goal to make the Mandalorians think they have to be in these like religious, crazy, strict ways, and that could further divide them to make sure that they can never take Mandalore back? Or does she legitimately want to take Mandalore back, but just for her own crazy Mandalorian, like religious reason? Like maybe the religious aspects are really who she is, but maybe it has ulterior motives to it, or maybe that's just a front and she is Moff Gideon's fucking spy. She also has the spikes on her helmet, the only one with the spikes on the helmet, except Moff Gideon this week.
Oh shit, I didn't even think of that. I don't like that she gave our sweet Baby Yo his armor too. Maybe she put a little like hole in it, like it's all gonna just fall apart.
That's the other
like
thing. We saw how many
foil.
Beskar stormtrooper outfits this week. Who else knows how to forge?
That's true. Yeah. Bob, I'm Sparky in her. She's bitches sus. Toss her ass overboard. Take her jetpack. Does she even have a jetpack? If she does, take it off. Throw her off the fucking ship, because everything just went down way too fucking. I don't like the way this was.
Take her fur scarf. It's too cool. If she's gonna be bad, I don't want that. She'll probably put on like a white mink one, and when she turns bad, like she's like Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I will say this too: like if I tried to get the people against her, her voice inflection is one of those things that just makes me feel dumb and makes her seem smart. She's like, "It is me. I am innocent. It is him who is the guilty one." And then my ass would get thrown off of the ship. She's just something about her. She carries herself with such an air, right? So yeah, she would not be an easy person to take down, which is why she's number one on the goddamn. Get this bitch off my goddamn ship. Get off my plane.
Bo-Katan reveals to everyone that she actually did surrender. They're like, we followed you into the pits of hell because you never surrendered. That's what we love about you. And she's like, I hate to tell you this, I did surrender, guys. This is the story that we finally get on how Moff Gideon obtained the Darksaber. And it wasn't through battle. It wasn't combat where they fought and he defeated her and she surrendered like that. He was basically like, hey, we're about to destroy Mandalore. We're about to bomb everything. Unless you disarm, surrender, give me the Darksaber. And she was like, I didn't really trust him, but I had to do it. It was the only chance I had. And she winds up making the deal, and he just backstabs her with that Darksaber. Not literally, but kind of. And he goes and bombs Mandalore anyway. The purge happens. And Mandalore and the Mandalorian himself goes up to Bo-Katan afterwards, and he's like, just so you know, I don't care about blood. I don't give a fuck about that Darksaber, and none of my friends give a fuck about the Darksaber ever either. We care about honor, we care about loyalty, and we care about character. Your song is not yet written, which I loved that line. It was like, fuck yeah, Mando. And he's like, I will follow you until it's over. That's what I care about. You're our girl. We're with you. And I was like, yes, we're all together now. Bo-Katan, she's completely off the sus list for me.
I mean, the Bob versus Bo meter is always, I've had it on the bottom of my note sheet every week just to see. Let's just check on it now. Where are you right now, Bob?
It's a -3.
I might go
We're in
back.
the opposite direction.
I'm just gonna pull up that rant that you had. I'll download the TikTok and just repost it on Twitter. Be like, look at this fucking guy. We're all ride or die for Bo, and Robbie's over here just shitting all over the poor lady. I mean, I still am upset she didn't stop by the basement when she was at the Barstool office. But other than that, it was also, like you said, Mando riding or dying for her. I like to see. And it was also funny how when Baby Yoda was breaking up that fight that was over like chess or whatever, where it's like those guys just clearly have like a difference of opinion and there was going to be a fight no matter what. And he says no. And I was like, and he's like, he didn't learn that from me. And I feel like that's a Jedi move, right? Is that what we're
Totally.
thinking was the whole reason behind it? So
Absolutely. And Grogu even gives a nod after that. I loved that when they cut to him. He gives a nod like, that's right. I fucking stepped in there and stopped it. I loved that scene too, because you get the Bo-Katan loyalists. They say we can bring you to the Great Forge. So they start getting along the skitter. And then it's Paz Vizsla and Axe, and they're playing that chess, and they literally get into a real fight just because of a rules disagreement. The two biggest hardos in the covert, by the way, these two fucking idiots.
I was trying to compare. I was like, which two Barstool people would be like the fight? And I was like, Smitty versus
Smitty and White Sox Dave.
Oh, okay. I don't even think I don't think Smitty's a real hard. I think he plays that character sometimes, right?
But when you get them together,
when you get them together on competition, Twitch. Yes,
yeah,
exactly. So that is the White Sox Dave versus Smitty fight. Good call. That was a great call, Robbie. I couldn't put my fucking finger on like, all right, one of you guys is Smitty. I just got to figure out which one the other guy is.
Yeah. So Grogu, like you said, steps in. He knows him to death. No. And the armorer gives the ship a heads up that, hey, we're bringing in some survivors. She gets the fuck out of there. Again, sus. What is going on there? And as soon as she did that, I was like, oh, some shit's about to go down. Like, they don't show us the armorer getting out of there if people aren't about to die, because they want us to know she's about to survive this. So then this gigantic monster comes up. It's got all shards in its back, tail whips the ship. They all yell, abandon ship, jetpack off of it. I loved two of them like linked arms with IG-12 and Grogu, and just flew him off the ship, flew him to safety. I loved the entire Star Wars-ness, weirdness, darkness of the episode. Like you said, like not only the reanimated carcass of IG-12, IG-11, but a lot of this episode was the darker side of Star Wars, the Empire side of Star Wars. And that hasn't been embraced as much in this season. Got a little bit of it with like the mind flaying in Pershing and whatnot. The other thing Moff Gideon says when he's like, Pershing's research has all been lost. He was lost to the New Republic. It's like, oh, he mind flayed that because he's trying to do his own shit, isn't he? And he's like, I don't want anyone else to know what we were doing with that cloning research. He's also got tanks of people being cloned that he walked through. Are those all Snokes? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. That had to be Snokes. If it's not Snokes, it's Pappy's. Can't say his name obviously because I'm so. And again, I don't know. Like I thought that was a mythosaur that went up, and I've been told it was not a mythosaur that came out of the sand.
At first, I thought it was the mythosaur as well, but I think the big telltale sign is the two big horns that you see on like the logo. So I didn't see those. So I don't think it was the mythosaur.
I'd be the one anytime there's like a creature. It's like AJ. Every time he sees a bug, he thinks it's a bee. He's like, a bee. That's me. I'm like, mythosaur. It's a fucking mythosaur. They're like, dude, it's a fucking wampum. What are you talking about right
Can somebody please make the Clem butterfly meme? Is this a mythosaur? I need that. I need that. Tweet that at us this week with the hashtag girthy little droid or whatever the fuck I said before. So then Moff Gideon's jetpack troopers arrive because when they get attacked by this big monster, they head down into the Great Forge and they have a little dialogue back and forth about we all used to live here. This was the center of our society. Basically, the fires have burnt out at this point. And then they get attacked by all of these stormtroopers that are a mix between stormtroopers and Mandalorians because they have jetpacks and Beskar armor. But it seems like other than that, they're pretty much just stormtroopers. Huge action scene. Awesome choreography and coordination in this. Scenes where Mando just punches someone in the fucking chest, a bunch of clotheslines. We're getting wrestling moves, kicks off cliffs and stuff. I really have enjoyed all of the hand-to-hand combat this season. I don't know if it's the same guy that did it last season, but I think last season they brought in the person who does it for Marvel. So if it's that guy, he's like the John Williams of stunt choreography at this point because he does all the biggest franchises. And I feel like they've been crushing it this season.
And by the way, speaking of Marvel, the armor is Mephisto. Until proven otherwise, I'm saying the armor is Mephisto. These stormtroopers, I actually felt more scared of because of the armor than I did the Death Troopers last season or whenever that was, because I thought they were badass and those fuckers just got washed over. Remember they had like the fucking like electronic music that was so sweet.
Yeah.
These guys had a little more oomph to them. They weren't complete fucking bozos, even though they got their asses kicked pretty well too. It's still no matter what kind of army you put on them, you're still putting the bozos inside of them. They're still gonna kind of stink.
They're not going to be able to hit their targets, which is tough. You know, it's like eventually they're just going to get caught. And it looked like they were trying to show that the Mandalorians were shooting them like in the neck and stuff where their armor wasn't covering. And I was like, oh my God, this is a little brutal, but I loved it. I really did. And then they keep going through and it leads them to an Empire facility. And you see the door right away, look at the lights, and you're like, oh, electricity down here. Something that we pretty much predicted last week. What if the Mandalorians are being hidden away from their planet because the Empire is rebuilding there? And I don't know if this is the entire Empire rebuilding. I don't think it is, because the way they talked about when Thrawn returns, we'll have the full fleet back in the army, the military. But we have TIE bombers, TIE fighters, and it was all an ambush. So Moff Gideon comes out.
Trap.
It's a trap. It's literally a trap. Moff Gideon comes out in this amazing dark trooper suit, but it's kind of a dark Mandalorian trooper suit because he has a Mandalorian helmet, like I said, with the spikes. And he gives this awesome monologue where he's trapped the Mandalorian, and the Mandalorian for a second gives a good effort with the fire, with the flamethrower.
You George had its moment in the sun today. I will say that.
It did have a moment. He's using it a little better, but they restrain him. And then Gideon does classic Star Wars villain shit where he's monologuing the whole time. Monologuing like a guy who didn't just lose to the Mandalorian last season as well. Like, he was so cocky. So I was expecting him to spit on the Mandalorian's helmet like Bret Hart and Vince McMahon after the Montreal screw job. But he says an awesome line where he's like, the biggest improvement I've made to the Dark Trooper suit is I'm the one inside of it. It's like, oh, fuck. Now we're going to have to deal with this now. And the way the entire thing is presented, awesome. He tells Bo-Katan to surrender again. She refuses, uses the saber to cut a whole little hole outside of it. And then to end the episode, Paz Vizsla, this guy who we called a hardo, 5 minutes ago, goes out there and he sacrifices himself. He makes the decision to close the door. He says, this is the way. And he just shoots off his turret until it overheats like a gun has never overheated before. The visual of that was really cool. Gun getting orange on the barrel and stuff. And he takes all of the troopers out, even after the gun has no more ammo or it's overheated. He clotheslines a couple, kicks him off the ledge. I almost expected him to like jump off the ledge with one of them. But no, the 3 Praetorian guards come in and they fuck his shit up very quickly. They make easy work of him with their cool purple electronic weapons. Paz Vizsla also has a cool weapon, kind of that Dune style, like phasing in and out knife. But kind of a sad ending to the episode. We lost this guy, Paz Vizsla. He's gone, and he sacrificed himself for our guy in the end, the Mandalorian, because he was with the crew. So all is forgiven on the Book of Boba Fett trying to steal the Darksaber stuff.
I gotta say, RIP my dog Paz Vizsla. I didn't think I was gonna really like him other than how badass his gun was, because I don't know, he just kind of bothered me with the Hardo stuff. That was tough. I thought he was just gonna like win, and we were just gonna go to the credits, be like, all right, Paz is still there, needs everyone else to come back.
He's the Mandalorian.
He's the Mandalorian. Exactly. That was a fucking performance, and it did make those guards seem even. Again, if I saw those guards do that before, which one do they fight? Is it Rise of Skywalker where Rey and
Last Jedi?
It's Last Jedi. Okay. So if I saw that, it kind of makes it a little more, because all those fuckers did in like Return of the Jedi is just kind of just sit there and they're just it's the same guys that are without the Emperor, right? Or same.
I think it's technically different, but how could you not look at it as an evolution of the like Imperial Royal Guards? They're red and they have the shiny outfit. I have always looked at them as like, oh, that's the new version of them.
It's a goddamn shame too that Paz's gun melted down, because it's like that should go to someone else, man. He just, like you said, when you have the turret gun in a video game, you're just lighting fools up. That guy is. It just sucks. We're not going to have him anymore. So yeah, I was pretty bummed about that. I also, I don't know what I would respect. I know what I would respect more. I would love if Bo-Katan was telling the story about how she said, "I'll give you the Darksaber as long as you let my people go," and then Moff Gideon said, "Okay," and then he obviously betrays her and he goes, I had my fingers crossed. If he had done I had my fingers crossed move, it would have, because that carries
Oh,
in
yeah.
this planet and it carries in a galaxy far, far away. Fingers crossed always fucking carries and plays. So that would have been a great thing. Also, so let me just say this. You said it perfectly before. Moff Gideon is acting like he's the fucking head honcho, badass motherfucker final boss. Guy lost like clean to the Mandalorian, had the advantage, had Baby Yoda as a hostage with his little handcuffs on, had the dark saber. Mando just had his little bow or whatever, and he cleanly pinned him in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. There was no count out. There was no like steel chair by someone interfering. It was clean as clean could be. And this guy's just carrying himself like he's the fucking the goat. I will say though, anyone that straight up steals the armor and the look, appropriates the culture they tried to wipe off the map, I gotta kind of give him credit for that. He is not a great villain in terms of like domination and strength. He is in terms of just being a motherfucker though. His motherfucker rating is 100, no doubt about it. So I'll give him that much.
That's a great way to put it. He's got a 100% motherfucker rating. And I'm with you. I would have loved to hear Giancarlo Esposito in that like proper voice be like, my fingers were crossed. They were crossed the whole time. You know, like that voice is tremendous, but it sets up for an amazing finale. The Mandalorians are on the run, but we're still on the planet, except for the armor. She's going up to the fleet. So it's like, all right, what's going to happen there? Babu Frick still in the mix. This guy being in the mix, the penultimate episode. I truly thought we were just going to get him in the premiere, and I was fine with that. I was like, what a perfect spot for him. Having him walk past Baby Yoda again and hit a bad baby, no squeeze. Like no he squeeze. Sees him, and it's like, you know, he's like a dog. He gets afraid of him almost. But this was perfect episode of The Mandalorian, in my opinion. I mean, if they were all like this season, it would be we would be on a different planet ourselves, because we would have lifted off from Earth and been that happy.
Yeah, I don't even know if they can even do that, right? I just think because there's so many, you only have so many big moments like that. And the fact, I said it last week during that weird episode, it's like, I guess the fact it can kind of shapeshift to these very different episodes is, I guess, kind of I don't know if it's a strength or just something that is pretty incredible. But I think this is going to be everyone's favorite episode until next week, probably, right? For this season.
I think it's got to be. And I know some people like the one-off, like adventures, Clone Wars style. I do too. I really do. There are certain episodes of The Mandalorian I would point to Rick Famuyiwa's first episode with Bill Burr, the prisoner scene where they break them all out. That's a perfect side mission where it didn't really connect to the main story at all, but I didn't care. There can be those episodes. I just look at this and I'm like, this felt like a Star Wars movie. Like Vinny Vega said, he said it felt theatrical, like the beginning, especially with the Coruscant meeting, him talking to the Shadow Council. I was like, God damn, this is A+ Star Wars. This doesn't feel like that low budget shit that we got in the Jack Black Lizzo scene. Didn't feel any SNL vibes this week, which is all you could ask for, right?
Yeah, we got it's kind of like you said, in a movie where different generals are meeting or whatever. It was that kind of level, and it's different than Andor, but it's the same kind of heaviness to it where you're like, oh shit, these are the guys who are making moves right here, right? Like when we saw who was our boy with the robe?
With the robe,
the guy I haven't seen the sunset, or the guy who's running the whole fucking, the guy who ran the whole mission in Andor from behind the scenes.
Yeah, Stellan Skarsgård. He played. What was his character's name?
Just call him Stellan Skarsgård. That's good enough for me. But seeing like having moments like that in the show, even though these are more traditional Star Wars scenes, it's impressive we can get there, especially when it's like you're a week away from the Jack Black Lizzo scenes where they just play Jack Black and Lizzo.
It's Luthen real.
Luthen, yes. God damn it. I'm going to remember it.
When you say the guy with the robes, I was just like, Clem, everyone in Star Wars wears fucking robes. What are you talking about? Obi-Wan, Anakin, a Tusken Raider, Boba Fett in his Tusken Raider gear. The robes. Could be the Imperial guys. Could be the Emperor. Could be Palpatine.
Speaking of clothes, like what Moff Gideon did by like turning himself into a Mandalorian, that would be like Grand Moff Tarkin like starting to wear like Alderaan shit after he blew the planet up. It's so fucked up. I actually kind of respect it. Again, it's like using another wrestler's finishing move on them. It's so fucked up. You have to tip your cap.
Hey, that is the perfect transition to our next ad. It's our friends at C4 Energy. Ladies and gentlemen, fans near and far, from the top rope to the turnbuckle, from power slams to the high flying moves, WrestleMania and the WWE is powered by C4 Ultimate Energy, the main event energy drink that supercharges your performance to the ultimate level. I love this stuff. I got two here. I got sparkling strawberry guava and sparkling cherry berry lime. I'm a cherry berry lime guy myself. I love when people incorporate cherry and lime. I feel like that's an underrated flavor combo. You don't see it every day.
Cherry limeade, I know, is a big thing, I believe. So that always plays. Lime is getting its day in the sun here. It's starting to in drinks and stuff like that. I know they just brought back the lime Skittles a year or two ago. I feel like lime is just it's all you need. You don't need a ton. So, and those cans are fucking beautiful too. We have to.
Oh, I know the design of these cans, the gradient and everything. Oh, let me get the logo there. It's backwards on my screen, so I couldn't see. Bow C4. But they sponsor WWE, they sponsor WrestleMania, and they sponsor My Mom's Basement. 300 milligrams of caffeine. C4 Energy is going to fuel you up. You're going to get that ultimate energy to get hype, whether it's gearing up for a night out, pulling an all-nighter, trying to stay up for the Mandalorian finale next week. C4 would be a friend for you.
Gotta do that.
Whether you're getting ready to rumble or pumping up the crowd, C4 is the ultimate beverage to help you get in the zone. And they have an audience engagement question here. And I love these. I truly do. Ask the audience, what's your favorite WWE moment? That's really tough, especially if you're a wrestling fan. You probably have like 100 moments that spring to mind. Like, what do you mean my favorite WWE moment? I have one, though, that I could look at and be like, that is my overall favorite WWE moment. Be Daniel Bryan winning the main event, WrestleMania 30. That was like my guy, rooted for him from the indies to the WWE, went over in the main event, felt like this culmination of his entire career, even beyond the WWE storyline. And that was like a moment that could have made me cry. I did cry. You know me.
I know you, Bob. We love you anyway. It's all right.
What about you, Clem? Do you have a moment that comes to mind as a wrestling fan? Like that was the peak of your wrestling fandom?
I have like a couple that flash in very quickly, like just immediately. Now, as a Hulk Hogan guy, it would have been Andre, but I was too young for the Andre Slam. And the Ultimate Warrior was like my worst moment as a wrestling fan because he lost to the Warrior. Yeah. So I had two moments, both very different. One was Sable with the handprints. That's one. I think that put a lot of people. I went from a boy to a man in that moment. And then two, kind of like you said, your guy, my guy. And like we all love Stone Cold, we all love The Rock, we all loved all the big names. But my guy, who was at this point, he had leveled up to like the A tier. But when Mick Foley won that championship, man, that was something I still can't believe happened. Even though that son of a bitch Tony Schiavone or whatever tried to like spoil it for everyone, it was such like I still to this day. And the pop when is that the one Stone Cold comes out? Yeah. It's like there was probably like the beastquake of Marshall Lynch at that point. He probably had like things shaking. It was like for that whole week afterwards. I'm like, I can't believe Mick Foley is the WWF champion. So it was straight up awesome.
If you haven't seen that moment, go on YouTube right now. You're on YouTube already if you're watching the podcast, and look up Mankind wins WWF championship for the first time. As Clem is describing, Stone Cold comes out to help him out because the odds have to be evened against The Rock, the corporation. He nails The Rock with his steel chair. When his glass shatters, his music hits, that crowd gives what I think is the biggest pop ever. I don't think I've ever heard a pop louder than that one. So that's a must watch for everyone out there. And let us know in the comments below, what's your favorite WWE moment? I'm sure you have a lot of different ones. A lot of different people have different favorites. I want to hear someone be like, it's when the Hurricane beat The Rock 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. Like I want to hear some obscure ones from the crowd this week. So let us know. That's a great thing to just bring back nostalgic memories as well. I scroll through a comment section of favorite WWE moments. And I'm going on a YouTube rabbit hole the rest of the day.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to our friends at C4. You can get their drink at 7-Eleven or C4Energy.com. Purchase in all 4 flavors. Now, before we close out.
That's beautiful too. 7-Eleven being the spot. That's my go-to drink spot. If I need to get a drink, I prefer to go to a 7-Eleven than just a random grocery store or gas station. I want to hit 7-Eleven. Feel like the refrigerators just hit a little harder there. And Bob, I'm going to go to my local 7-Eleven. I'm going to pick up a C4 and I'm going to have to pop it for the 3 a.m. because unless I like basically poison myself and get sick again so I could wake up at 3 a.m., I'm going to need that little extra oomph to get me going. So I'm getting my C4.
Absolutely. And before we get out of here, let's give a few predictions for next week's finale. The one big one that a lot of people are asking, are we going to see Thrawn? You and I were both on record saying yes, we'll see him in some kind of post-credits or tease like this. I now have a more specific prediction I'd like to make on that.
Okay.
We got Moff Gideon complaining a bunch about, hey, he never shows up to these fucking meetings. What's going on? I have a feeling Moff Gideon is once again at the end of a season going to get defeated by the Mandalorian Din Djarin. I don't think he's going to be killed, though. I think he's going to go back to meet with the Shadow Council in the post-credit scene, and we're just going to see the hologram of Grand Admiral Thrawn step on, and he's going to be like, all right, I'll take over from here. Boom. And that sets us up for Ahsoka this summer. I almost said Andor. My timelines, my A words, they're all swapped right now, but for Ahsoka.
He takes the video game controller out of Moff Gideon's hands. Basically, it's like, I'm gonna finish the level for you because you can't do it. I'll go with he's going to die, Gideon, but I don't know. It could be during a fight with the Mandalorians, or it could be at the hand of Thrawn or at the order of Thrawn. I'm gonna say one of those two things will happen. Because again, you can't have this guy just keep on losing here, and he just keeps bouncing back, and I'm supposed to like respect him. The only guy who loses and keeps coming back for more is the Emperor, and I'm sick of that fucking guy too.
It's the third season in a row where the second to last episode or last episode, we get Moff Gideon. It's like 3 seasons of just like side adventures and then Gideon. And it's formulaic, but God damn it, it works. Like, it works. Again, season 3, we've talked about it like it's like disjointed, blah, blah, blah. Season 3 has been very enjoyable television in my mind, like the majority of it at least, where every week I'm still looking forward to The Mandalorian. It didn't feel like the season until this week. The 3 a.m. we have to wake up because this is going to get spoiled for us. There was a lot less fan service-y things that you wouldn't want to get spoiled about, I guess. But I think we are going to look back at this season and people are going to say season 3 was really underrated at the time.
The thinking man season. That's what season 3 was for The Mandalorian, right?
And then it'll be season 2 of The Wire. People will be like, it was really integral to the story. You needed the docs, right?
Yep. Yeah. Perfect way to put it, Bob.
I haven't even seen The Wire, but
you just know that.
There you go. And my final prediction, and this is more of a hope than a prediction, really. I want Bill Burr in the finale. Ooh. I want him to somehow show up. I don't care if it's with Grief Karga, with Babu Frick. Babu Frick just shows up in the finale of Rise of Skywalker. He jumps up with Zori Bliss, and he's like, hey, in the final battle. Give me some of that shit. Do I think the armor is going to turn in the finale? I'm going to go with yes. I feel like it's probably like, you know, if you're a betting man, it's probably plus money to go with yes. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to go with yes. I'm going to gamble there.
Okay, I'm trying to think if the armor actually reveals herself as the mole during the episode. Maybe she's the one who kills Gideon from behind or something like that. She hits him with the hammer.
That would be crazy.
That would be fucking awesome. That would be sweet. I'm going to go with our boy Mando getting taken just feels weird that's just up in the air right now. And I don't know what's going to happen next. And again,
I was surprised they didn't rip his helmet off. I thought they were going to rip that bucket off the second he got on his knees. And they were going to be like, look, he ain't Mandalorian anymore. Again,
sweet Pedro underneath there, right?
Yeah.
My prediction, Baby Yoda is using the Force next week. I thought we were going to get it today when there's that wall separating them. I thought he was going to try to throw some chokeholds at Gideon or something like that. But the fact we have him in the robot, he's going to need some help to get out of the situation, and he's going to start forcing on motherfuckers.
I also think since we didn't get it this week, we thought we got it for a second. We're going to get the Mythosaur next week.
Yes, I think I'll be very surprised if we don't get the Mythosaur. Do you think it's something Bo related? Maybe Mythosaur, Darksaber, it's all kind of coming together as the leader here moment.
Yeah, I think it's going to like save her in a big moment. She's going to be backed into a corner and it's going to like come up from the ground, kind of like the monster did this week. But I could see it in like, you know, in The Force Awakens when they're like, all right, we want Kylo Ren and Rey to fight, but we don't want either one of them to die. So they have to have the planet explode and like separate them. I feel like the Mythosaur could separate Gideon's forces and our forces. And that could be the big, like, it saved us, but they're still out there.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I could. That's a good call. I'm with you on that for sure. I also think, I don't know if it's this episode, I do think Paz Vizsla's kid is playing. What's his name? You always you had
I don't
I keep
remember his
throwing
name.
these
I'm
at you
so bad
here.
with these new names. I know.
Because I thought that was the dad's name at first. I'm like, no, that's Paz Vizsla. So I think that kid will play a role at some point, whether or not the baby pterodactyls play a role, still TBD. Do you think by the end of the episode, Bo is in a good place with all the Mandalorians, or do you think there's like she's kind of splitting the faction, or do you think this is kind of her moment here?
I think you give her moment here. I think especially after this season, she's kind of taken a lead role. I think it'd be good to give her a moment, especially because last season we ended with like, ooh, are we even on good terms with her? Because she's kind of pissed about that Darksaber.
Yeah.
So I think you give her a moment.
Yeah, I hope she gets her moment. That's what I'm gonna say. Again, you throw Baby Yo on her lap, you're kind of making her the baby face. You can't get mad at someone that has Baby Yo on the lap when they're driving.
Yeah. So what's the hashtag this week? Is it girthy little droid?
Girthy little droid. I think that has to be it.
Hashtag girthy little droid. All right. Thank you for listening, everyone. Tune in next week for the finale of The Mandalorian. And also keep an eye on the YouTube channel for a bunch of interviews with musicians. I just had my favorite band ever, All Time Low, on. Got a bunch of hardcore bands on next week, which that is a world I didn't know much about. And it is mind-blowing when you hear these stories. People getting stabbed, shot during their sets. Crazy, crazy shit. So make sure you tune in for that next week. King 9, Speed, Brody King of AEW, they'll all be in the basement. See you then.